Okay, so the hot topic of using a line on a golf ball when you putt. This video is going to deal with what I believe are the three main questions people have around this. Question number one, who should and shouldn't potentially use a line on the ball? Question two, how's the best way to use it if you do decide to use it? And question three, how do I get past the biggest problems? There's two main ones that I hear all the time about using a line. So I'm going to deal with how to get past those problems. Who should and shouldn't use the line? First of all, there is no right or wrong. There's not everybody should use the line because it's going to help everybody. That's just wrong, especially with junior golfers in this day and age. I see them pretty much all using the line. It's rare I work with a junior golfer who doesn't use the line. And I think that's been forced because they know a lot of the tour pros use it, so they think you should use it. That's wrong. Some of the best players in the world don't use the line, okay? So there's no right or wrong, and there's definitely no obligation that you must use it if you want to be a world-class putter. The second thing is, what type of golfer would it suit? I would say, if you're the sort of golfer that looks at a putt and just sees a putt as a straight putt to a point, 10-foot putt, one hole cup left, that's how you read a putt. That kind of suits the line, because then use the line, set it to your one hole cup left. If you're more of a visual putter that doesn't really feel you aim your putter to a certain point, and you know, some of the best putters in the world would more just trust that their body's going to line up well, and that's fine if you putt well doing that. That doesn't really suit using a line. If you're more, you're visual of the journey the ball's going to go on, and you're not picking a specific spot level with a hole, that might suit not using a line. So you've got to really think what type of green reader you are maybe as well, okay? If you do decide to use the line, here's a couple of tips on how to use it to the best of your ability. First things first, I believe drawing a bigger line on the ball. Hopefully you can see that. I use a TaylorMade Pix ball, and I've got a big thick blue line there that I've used one of these tools to draw on. So I would get one of these and I would draw a bigger line. I do see some golfers do okay just using the line that's already on the ball, whether it's the Titleist Pro V or whatever it is. And that's fine. I just feel I would far rather have a bigger line. If I'm going to use the line, I want it to be pretty obvious. The next thing is, if you're using a line on a ball, should you have a line on your putter? There is no right and wrong on that. Personally, I do want a line on my putter, and I also want the line to be on the top there so that I can join the lines. But a lot of putters made are not like that, and I don't think someone should just rush out and buy a new putter. Some of them have no lines. 2-ball putters, for example, very popular. Just because you use a 2-ball that doesn't have a line doesn't mean you shouldn't use a line on the ball. So there's no right and wrong combination. My personal preference for me is I like 2 lines, and I want a line that goes right in the top of the face so I can just join those lines up. That's how I like to do it. Okay, another wee tip for how to use it best, and the way I do it is, when I come to the putting green, I would have my marker down. I'd keep my marker down. I've already had a look at the putt. I've probably got the ball in my pocket, and I would say I've selected right to left break, and I'm aiming about a foot outside the right hand side. I will line it up by eye first, and then this is a good one, use the shaft of my putter. And I just stay crouched down, because that way I'm not, if I like to do this sometimes when somebody else is putting, if I can, not if I'm right in their line of sight, but the more I can just stay down here, the less I'm going to be in anyone's way. So I use the shaft of my putter. If a putt breaks left, I use the left side of the shaft because I can just see the putt breaking away from the putter. If the putt breaks right, I use the right side of the shaft for the same reason. So I'll stay crouched down, I've set my line by eye, and I will then use the shaft of the putter. I'm going to look through my dominant eye, which most people would just do automatically. If it's fine, I pick the marker up. If it needs a tweak, I'll tweak it and check it. It's very rare I need to tweak it more than once now. And this is why I think it's important to practice it off the course first, because you'll get quicker and more efficient. But I'd say about half the time I don't need to tweak it, about half the time it gets a little move left or right, okay? And I am not overly particular that it has to be to the millimeter either, okay? So the number one problem I hear all the time about people talking about using the line is that when they get over the ball, it doesn't look right. That is completely normal. A lot of people think that means they shouldn't use the line or that something strange has gone on individual to them. Honestly, that is one of the most common things I hear. So it is very, very, very common, okay? So first of all, you're not alone that it doesn't look right. What I would say is, if you can't get past that and trust it that you've lined it up, then maybe the line isn't for you. Personally, I have an issue on a left to right pat where, and this, going back a few years, I would use the line for a wee while, then I would have this problem on a left to right pat. I was okay right to left, I was okay straight, I'd get over the ball, line looked fine. On the left to right pat, I would look and I would just say, no, that looks like I'm aiming further right than I'm actually aiming. So I would either go against the line, because you don't want to remark it and everything and cause hold-ups. So I would either go against the line, which is kind of no point using it if you're going against it, or in worst cases, I would tell myself I'm going to trust it, and then I'd make a bad stroke because I wasn't confident enough in the line. I got past this a few years ago, literally just by learning to trust it. And it's not like flicking a switch, I just learned to trust it. But I told myself, no, commit to this and learn to trust it. I've got to a point now, and I got to this point a long time ago, it didn't take that long, where now I don't care what it looks like. If I line something up from behind and I check it with the shaft of my putter, I know it's fine. So I don't care what it looks like. Sometimes people, it doesn't look right because their setup's not right, their eyes are in the wrong place. I've experimented, I'm an eyes over the ball putter, and I've experimented going inside, going outside, I've closed my body, opened my body. I tried all sorts of forward ball positions, back ball positions, just to see if the line can ever look perfect. It doesn't. As I said though, learn to trust it. I now know as well, if I've got a left to right pat on the course, it almost has to feel like I'm aiming at the hole, for example, or closer to the hole than I am. And I'm just comfortable with that now. I trust it. I set the line of my putter to the line and I just make a stroke to that line, okay? So I learn to trust it. That would be my advice. The second biggest problem that I hear about when it comes to using the line is people are conscious of slow play. And I totally get that. A lot of people do not like slow play. Nobody likes slow play, but you know, if you are conscious that you're holding everybody up, that's a recipe for disaster. So, A, practice it off the course to get more efficient with it. And B, when you're on the course, remember this, you don't need to be as precise as you maybe think. A golf ball travels down a corridor. It doesn't travel down a razor's edge to potentially go in. There are so many variables whether your putt's going to go in. Do you think it really matters if you've got a 12-foot putt with lots of break, whether your line is aiming to the millimeter? Come on, you could push or pull everybody's going to push or pull it to some extent a lot of the time. You could misstrike the putt. That happens a lot more than you think as well. Your read might not have been that great in the first place. Like, there's just so many variables. You could even have everything perfect. Great read, great putt, great stroke. The greens are not perfect. There's blemishes on the surfaces where people have been walking all day. Gusts of wind could come along. So, and I know that sounds like, God, how can we ever hold putts? But I would just say, like, you just concentrate on make your read, be decisive with it, point the line close to that, and then just concentrate on making a good stroke, going through your routine. You do not need to be precise. I don't think that's a recipe for good putting, okay? All that relaxes me. That doesn't make me worried I can't hold putts. That relaxes me. Make my read, set it, go through my routine, execute the putt. Then there's a bit of randomness involved if it's going to go in. But the more good putts you hit, the better your reads are, the better the quality of your stroke and your speed control. You're going to hold more putts. That's for certain. All right? So hopefully this has cleared up the main questions on who should use the power, who should use the line, who shouldn't use the line, how to use it to the best of your ability, and getting past the main problems around it. Okay? Thanks for watching.